Will 2025 be a good year for Magic the Gathering? It probably will not be. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Everybody's skeptical, as you can see from all these thumbnails. They are not... These are people who are smarter than me. They're not excited about this year. Neither am I. I am very tired and sick of the Universes Beyond stuff. The Warhammer thing did it perfectly. You get a commander set, which are always just kind of outside the game, right? When the first commander sets came out, it was just kind of its own standalone thing that was outside the regular gameplay. That was just like, hey, here's some fun cards to play. And that's what the Warhammer set was. It was just, here's 4 decks, just play them with your friends, right? And it somewhat fit the theme of Magic the Gathering. A little futuristic for Magic's taste traditionally, but I thought it was a really good way to do things like that, and that kind of just opened the floodgates for everything else. When they did the Lord of the Rings set, I had a lot of issues with that set. Namely, it was a modern legal set, and it was a whole box thing with booster packs and all this sort of stuff, which they also did with Doctor Who, and I don't think that works well for Magic the Gathering. There are a lot of broken cards. I'm talking specifically about the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, and I don't know, like Orcish Bowmasters, which is really strong, and just a lot of the very specific ward mechanics. It's like ward, sacrifice a legendary creature, right? I think these really push the bounds and the power creep of the game, which I think was going to happen eventually anyway. But some of these things I think could have been done in a Magic set. And I don't like that we're seeing these specifically named cards that are legal in regular Magic the Gathering, not just Commander. I think Commander, you can sure do whatever you want, because it's outside the regular, I guess, quote unquote regular traditional playings of Magic the Gathering. I don't think Magic's going in a good direction, and I don't know, you could disagree with that. This is completely my opinion. This is a weird video to start with for 2025, but that's my opinion. That is, I'm just disappointed in the corporate sellouts and the just like they just want to bring like all this money into the game, and it's a company. Hasbro doesn't give a crap about us. Wizards of the Coast doesn't give a crap about us. They just want our money. You should know that by now. I should know that by now. The problem is that they're running this wonderful game into the ground, and Yu-Gi-Oh players have already kind of seen that. And every time there's any sort of negative comment, you always, or a negative video about Magic the Gathering going too much power creep, there's always a million people in the comments being like, "Oh, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh!" Right? But the thing is Yu-Gi-Oh had that power creep curve without putting the Universes Beyond type stuff, which is fantastic. Like, they're staying, Yu-Gi-Oh is staying Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon's staying Pokemon, Marvel characters in their own Marvel game are staying Marvel characters in their own Marvel game. Magic the Gathering, however, is now, if a company wants to join, come on board, right? Aye, Captain, SpongeBob SquarePants, really, and this video from Spice8 Rack, right? The Magic the Gathering: The Death of the Future is just great. With like, Magic is becoming Fortnite, and that's not a good thing. It's just gonna be the current player base is getting sick of it and tired of it, and I don't think that's a good thing for any sort of media, right? There's a lot of films this last year and the last couple years who are like, if you don't like the film, then you can get out, and everybody's like, okay, we're going to get out. And then they're baffled at why their movie didn't make any money. And I'm like, because you kicked all the fans out, right? You made something that they didn't like. And here we are in Magic the Gathering. It's like, okay, well, Sure, you're going to bring on some new fans of Marvel or some new fans of The Walking Dead. Just kidding. There's no fans of Walking Dead. No. What I'm saying, yeah, new fans of these franchises, like, cool. Here's this franchise. Here's Assassin's Creed. Here's all these cards. Then what? Like, they're playing Magic the Gathering, but they're playing Magic, right? And Magic the Gathering used to be something unique. It used to be something very new, very cool. And it had this brilliant story and this really deep connected world that was disconnected from each other with the different planes and the different settings and the different characters that really brought in all this beautiful story. And, you know, maybe it's a little bit funky and a little bit weird for us nowadays, for the story in the 90s, like Urza's Saga and, you know, all the dragons and all that stuff. Sure, maybe it may not be up to the standards of today, but it really gave Magic something. It really gave it this stepping stone of deep, rich lore that they came back to in Brothers War a couple years ago, right? It was this beautiful thing, and maybe this story is kind of up and down with whether it's good or bad. I mean, that's up for debate, right? Or up to opinion, I should say. But now it's just, let's take character A, put it in Magic, and that's it. There's just nothing to it. There's no whatever. And now it's just, the story's just, hey, all the planes are connected, everything's the same now, and now we're putting on detective hats and cowboy hats, and now we're gonna race some cars. Like, it's just so sad. I don't like it. And I don't know if Tarkir from this year is going to be any better. It's going to be just bland Tarkir. Here's a bunch of reprints from the Tarkir sets. Here's a bunch of mechanics from the Tarkir sets. And I don't think there's going to be much story, because now that the planes are all connected with the planar bridge, or not the planar bridge, but the world tree, right? They're all the omen paths. It's all just going to be slop. And I don't like that. I think there needs to be another mending event, right? Of like, let's reset everything type of thing. Or not so much reset, or just like close the omen paths, make these planes into their own unique identities. That's why I think Bloomborough did so well, is it didn't feel like it felt like its own thing again. And players really missed that. Same with, I think, Duskmourn too. I personally didn't like Duskmourn because of the theme. But that one was very popular as well, because it felt like its own unique type thing, even though it was kind of hokey with the horror movie like inserts, which I thought was kind of weird. But yeah, even though you had a bunch of hokey stuff in it, it still felt unique. Whereas you go to like Thunder Junction or the Clue set, and it's just like, what's happening? There's not really anything, like, nobody really, I felt like nobody cared about the story too much, and it was just like, here's your favorite characters in a different hat, right? And yeah, and the Red Bobcat covered that. He covers it so brilliantly, I'm not even going to tread on there. Check his channel out, it's fantastic. But it's just, all this stuff's just going to be a bunch of slop, and Hasbro's and Wizards of the Coast is just going to force feed it down our throats. And I just think we need to step back on what we're purchasing, send Hasbro and Wizards a message like, hey, this isn't okay. Your existing players don't really like this, even though we might like a specific card or like a dozen specific cards from your set. The rest of it's kind of slop. And there's too much power creep. There's too much Universes Beyond. Like, let's bring back everything to a good place. A Magic the Gathering place. Anyway, that is my opinion. that is what I think 2025 brings. I think the next couple of years are going to be a little bit funky for Wizards of the Coast with all of these Universes Beyond sets. They are famously 2 to 3 years out, so they planned all this stuff back in, what is it now, 2022 is when they started, developing all this stuff. 2022, 23, and now it's too late to change course a little bit, right? They pushed they pushed that one set, Lorwyn, back, which I'm like, that's a great set we could go back to. That's fantastic stuff. We've only been there once, right? And I guess we had a block of it, but right, been there once. And now it's been pushed back for more Universes Beyond. And I think the player base is, we're going to keep feeding the machine, and it's very sad. And I think we really need to speak with our wallets and not purchase a lot of this stuff. I think Innistrad Remastered might be okay, but I just think the rest of it we need to dial back on it so that Hasbro doesn't think, oh, they're just buying whatever crap we send them. So if that can happen in the next couple years, I think it'll send Wizards a message. Stop doing it, right? So it might be a weird couple years for Magic, but we will see. That is my rant. Sorry for going so long. Links in the description for all your extra stuff. So I'm going to get those figured out. I'm going to put little things in the bottom so that we can always have that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time for your weekly dose of Magic.